Chair, now calls David Baker, Texas Reptile Industry Association.
Mr. Chairman and members, it's an honor to be here. My name is David Barker, but I've been David Baker all my life. That's all right.
There's an R in there, and it's very well done. I apologize because most of them I give them H-E double Q.
Oh, no, it's usually Parker.
No, but it is.
We criticize your readsmanship.
Barker, there is a, you know, I apologize.
I believe that we're at some disadvantage seeing what the music museum brought as exhibits. We were told don't bring any exhibits. So
Sure, we wanted to see the music.
We're here unarmed. There's a couple of things that I'd like to preface this with, and probably most important is that I haven't seen the actual revision of the ordinance, the committee substitute. It doesn't exist. And I ask you then to be a little tolerant of anything that I have to say or subsequent speakers have to say, because they can only sort of talk in generalities. We really don't have the exact details. Although I think we have a fair idea of shaping up of what it's going to be. Initially, the law was to to require the permitting of all non-native venomous snakes and all constricting snakes, all non-native constricting snakes. That would encompass about 2,700 of the 3,200 recognized species of snakes. And it would involve the record keeping in the state of Texas, over 100,000 snakes, maybe well over 500,000 snakes. And it would affect about 100,000 Texans. There's an estimated 400,000 Texas residents with at least one reptile pet. About half of those are snakes. And so that's 200,000 Texas residents, and the majority of those keep constricting snakes. In the business, we call constricting snakes harmless snakes. I did introduce myself, and I'm here, and I was requested by Mr. Kirchhoff to participate in this because I'm really a well-rounded Texas herper. We call ourselves herpers, snake keepers. I was a keeper at the Dallas Zoo for 10 years. I was also supervisor of the Children's Zoo during part of that time. I was curator of education at the Gladys Porter Zoo for a couple of years. I've worked as a field biologist for the state of New Mexico. I was an instructor, graduate instructor at University of Texas in Arlington for 6 years. I am a graduate biologist, and my wife and I now work as citizen scientists, and we also are commercial snake operators. We don't own or raise anything covered by the revision of this ordinance. When I was asked to participate, I was told that my input would be well received and considered, and I think probably most important, the committee seems to have, or Mr. Hildebrandt's staff, Todd and Teresa, who I dealt with, they seem to agree that if we're going to at least neck it down to non-native venomous and the 5 largest constricting species of snakes. And that's really, I agreed to that on the basis of, I've been told that at least in part, one of the reasons for this ordinance is to add to the database available to first-line responders as a potential hazard in a site. And those are the animals, at least that would be of the greatest concern or of any concern. I recommended that one of the things that as a community or as a group of people that we're concerned with is that the fee isn't really set in stone, that the fee will be $50 this year and $100 next year and $200 the next year, and some of these snakes only cost $20. And so it seems a little excessive if the fee isn't legislated. But I was told that Parks and Wildlife would have to decide on that, on the amount of the fee and also on any expenses or any raises in the future. I believe that we've agreed that the permit system will be for one person for 1 year, regardless of however many animals he might have in his possession, as a business or as a private individual. I recommended that if people were willing to cooperate with this and get a permit and add their name to this database, that they not be subject to inspections. I mean, these are the people that are coming forward, telling the truth, and they certainly have right to privacy concerns. And I wasn't really given that had been satisfactorily, or to my satisfaction, negotiated, but there was a compromise, and it was that businesses, including homes that were listed as businesses, could be inspected at the discretion of the Texas Parks and Wildlife. The punitive side of this, I just heard Representative Hildebrand mention some things that I hadn't heard about it being changed from a Class B misdemeanor to a Class A and a Class C misdemeanor. And to be honest, I'm not enough of I've never had a misdemeanor. I don't know what the difference between a Class B and a Class C misdemeanor is.
Mr. Parker, that will be explained. Someone will be able to
Okay.
someone that will do that.
Okay, I hadn't heard that, but but I'm sure there's been consideration placed on that. Now I lost my train of thought. You're helping me out with my train of thought, and I lost it. That was the next thing. Sorry, I had all my ducks lined up in a row. A lot of these people are very concerned about this ordinance. I mean, I think this is an ordinance or a law that sounds like a good idea. But I haven't really been given a good reason why we're having this law, other than it sounds like a good idea. The facts are there are no escaped species of any of these snakes thriving in the wilds of Texas, even though people have been keeping these snakes in Texas for over 100 years. And even that includes some pretty sloppy business practices down in the valley, where it should be the greatest place for snakes to escape and do well, from 1920s to the 1940s. No snakes established. None of the snakes covered by this were established down there or anywhere else. And the other thing is that it's interesting, I think it's an interesting statistic in the world of animals, that snakes are about the only group that no person, no innocent member of the public, no emergency first responder, no policeman, no fireman has ever been injured or killed by an escaped venomous snake or large constrictor. Whereas that's not true for horses, that's not true for dogs, that's not true for just about any, it's not true for exotic game, it's not true for any number of things. Snakes are the one group, this is a group where they're not loose in the wild, they're not thriving in the wild, I can't tell you that they won't do well in the wild, because I can't prove a negative, but they probably have lots of chances and they've never established, unlike so many other things in this state.